Darkcast Network. Welcome to the dark side of podcasts.
Have you ever hit rock bottom and wondered if life could ever get better? My guest this week did, and she shares her incredible journey of overcoming addiction, loss, and trauma that will show you just how powerful resilience and self-love can be. Whether you're fighting addiction yourself or if it's for a loved one, you do not want to miss this.
Are you ready to pursue your dreams and build the life that you're proud of, no matter where your starting point was? If you're ready to take that, then you are in the right spot. My name is Tiffany, and I am the host at True Crime Connections. And joining me this week is Batrice Cordova. Hello, and I want to welcome you. Thank you so much for joining me.
Hi, how are you?
I am doing well, thank you. What I love about you is you are wanting to empower women and encourage them to find their voice and embrace their worth so they can take back their lives. That is such an important thing to do. When did you realize that you needed to take this journey yourself?
Probably once I decided to get sober. It was really about, there was a lot of stuff in that had to do with it. But I think the last straw was I am tired of being sick and tired. And so I just wanted to feel better. And at the time, it was like I had two options. I could either try and not drink anymore, or I could not be here anymore, type of thing. And that's the path I was going in. And I really wanted to make for sure that I am here. It was just like that turning point to where it was like, you know what? I want to be here. I don't want to not be here anymore. So that's where I decided to kind of take that turning point and get a little bit of help and decide, you know what, this is really something that I need to do for me.
Well, I want to congratulate you over 400 days of sobriety. That is amazing. So congratulations.
And, I've never been, I had to really think about it. I've never really been sober for that long of a period. Even because I started drinking probably when I was 12. My grandma would say I started drinking when I was a baby because they used to put a nipple on top of a beer bottle and give it to you.
Well, right. I mean, when you're in that kind of a situation, it's kind of hard for you not to follow in those steps. If you know what I mean, like if you're that young and they're like, "Here you go," like how are you not supposed to go down that road?
Right. So it was definitely different. It's definitely different. So
Right. So you grew up with a single mom, and I'm sure it was a struggle for her, and that's probably why they were feeding you alcohol, just for her to maybe have
Right.
some adult time or, whatever it may be. But do you think maybe that's kind of when it started to kind of set in for you? If that makes any sense. Like when we're young, we pick up on little vibes and little things. And your mom maybe not being as attentive as, you would have liked, maybe that's where self-worth issues started coming from.
I would say definitely. I would say definitely now that I have been sober for a while and definitely thinking about just my past and how I have been around alcohol my whole life, and then seeing my mom struggle because she was a teen mom too. And then my mom was a waitress bartender her whole life. My grandparents were they owned a restaurant. They owned a couple of restaurants. So it was always around all the time. And my mom being a single mom, and I'm mixed. So my mom is white. And I don't mean that in a bad way, but I've always grown up just saying, yeah, my mom's white type of thing. So I definitely think growing up not knowing like my own identity, and then having my mom still be young herself and not knowing what to do kind of with a mixed race baby. And then kind of going into like, I don't think she really felt comfortable for a long time. Now that I look back at it, you think about memories or look at pictures, and I definitely think that's why I gravitated towards my grandparents a little bit more when I was younger. And I see a lot of single, like young single moms, you know, they have their parents around to help them. I mean, I had my mom, I had my son yet. So I think that's why I kind of gravitated towards my grandparents, and my mom still was kind of figuring it out until she had my brother.
I can even identify with that. I wasn't as young as you. You had your first at 15. I was 24, but I still didn't know what the hell I was doing. But I mean, you learn as you go along, but by 19, you had 3. I can
Yes.
only imagine.
Yes.
Girl.
3. Right? Yes. So I had my son at 15, and then my middle child, I had her at 17, and then my youngest, I had at 19. Very just wham bam, thank you, ma'am. Get them all done and over with.
And then you're like, shop's closed.
Yeah. Yes, completely.
Your child's father was abusive, correct?
Yes. Yes. My son's father was never in the picture, but my daughter, the one I had at 17, her father and my youngest daughter, so my 2 youngest, have the same dad, and he was the one I was married to. So he was very abusive. Like, he was abusive before we even got married. It was in one of those eras, I think, that it was cool to be, like, with the gangster guy. I didn't know if anybody had to go through that era, but it was, like, 90s, 97. Yeah. Like, in 90s, early 2000s, and it was, like, cool to be with the gangsters. Well, yeah, that's not a way to grow up. Mhm. Definitely not. It's not cool to, um, be hit and stuff like that. It's definitely not good. And I think just growing up, not having a positive male role model, like, besides my grandfather, like, just anybody else and not knowing what a man should do, I just thought it was wrong.
Right. And that also goes back to childhood. That's why I feel like we do find ourselves in these relationships because that's what normal was to us. Same with me.
Mhm,
I found myself in abusive relationships because that's what I thought was love. And that is
mhm,
not love. Name calling and hitting and just so many different things. That's not what love is. And it's hard
mhm.
to see at those young ages that it's an abusive relationship until you're really
Yes.
in it, and then you're like, "Shit, how'd I get here?"
Exactly, exactly, and I think that's kind of where I found myself, not knowing kinda that I was really in a super abusive relationship until my daughter passed away, and it got worse. So my first child was my ex-husband. She passed away at the age of 2, and she passed away in a fire in our home, which my son started. So it's taking me a very long time to really talk about it, but my son was 5 when it happened. So he was still very young. I mean, I was only 19 and everybody was still very young. My ex was, I think, 21, 22. So he was young too. We were all young. But after my daughter passed is when I really got the abuse from him. Um, of course, it was my fault. It was my son's fault. Um, and I accepted that. Accepted, yeah, it was my fault. I was the only one home. It was my fault, even though it wasn't. It was a complete accident, but I had to live with that for a long time. And I still live with it. I still live with those memories of waking up in a fire and I have a child missing. It's not something that you would wish upon any of your worst enemies. So it's a lot for me. It's a lot for my son. It's a lot for everybody. It took me till I got sober to forgive myself. And that's been 23 years. So
Well, I'm very happy to hear that you did forgive yourself because you are not to blame for that, nor is he. He's a 5-year-old kid. He didn't mean to do that. And it's paralyzing when you have somebody in your face telling you that everything is your fault. And you start to believe it.
yeah, you do. You start to believe it. And then, all of those mean and hateful things that they're saying about you and your child. It was hard. I mean, my son, he wound up living with my mom until I was not with my ex anymore, but he lived with my mom for a long time because I was afraid for my son's life. Because I didn't know what my ex,
Right.
I knew what he would do to me, and I didn't know what he might do to him.
What was your final straw with your ex?
My final straw with him was I wasn't going to be hit again. But I had been hit like numerous times. Then I was in and out of the hospital, of course, always an excuse for it. I mean, of course, he would give me an excuse of why it happened. I would make him back another excuse of why it happened, and you just start believing all of these excuses of everything. And that is not okay. But what finally did it for me was at the time I was working at a military base, and when I was working there, I started to finally I guess, like, not reaching out, but, like, just, like, feeling like I could open up to people more, and they were more people that I really didn't know, and they're like, you don't need to be around that anymore, like, you like, there was one time I had to come to work, and of course he had to take me and, I'm getting out of the car crying and just tears, makeup. I had to go in and redo my makeup and all this other stuff. And one of the girls who I worked very closely with, she had told me, like, you don't deserve that. You don't. And it was just like, I thought I did. Like, I really thought I deserved it. And I let that rule me for a long time. But there was like, I told myself, okay, you know what? I don't deserve this. And it was one time in the middle of the night, and he had, leading up to this, there was quite a few incidences where he had went crazy. He destroyed everything in our little apartment condo type thing to where he broke the top of the toilet off. And it takes a lot of power to break the top of the toilet off. And so when I got home, I could not believe that that had happened. And when I got home at that time, like, I don't know where he was. He was gone, but it was within like a day and a half or 2 days, he decided that he was going to take that anger because he had broke that toilet out on me. And it was kind of like, it was my last straw, because it was probably one of the worst beatings I had gotten. But it was because he was mad at himself for breaking the toilet, because he was pissed off because everything was his narcissistic self. Now that I found out, I never knew the meaning of that until now. Um, but it was all because of him that I got what I got. And of course it was my fault, and it was probably one of the worst that I'd had. And I was done. And in the middle of the night, I just called my mom and I was like, Mom, can you just come and get me? Right. I was like, Mom, I am done. I took a laundry basket with my daughter's clothes and my clothes, and I was on it. And I never went.
Good for you. Not that it's an excuse or anything, but was he on drugs or drinking, or was this just his personality?
He was on drugs. He was drinking. He had been doing coke that I know of, but I don't know how far he went with it. But definitely coke and a lot of alcohol. So,
I just like to paint that because so many people will be like, well, it was because of this, it was because of that. And first of all, that's not an excuse. And second of all, that doesn't mean it's never going to happen again. So we need to stop giving these people excuses on why we allow the abuse that happens.
exactly. Looking back at it now, I had to really think, it would be all the time, whether he was inebriated or not, he would be abusive. So I think for him, that was his nature. Even though you didn't see it as much when he was sober, but you did. And I had to think that, yeah, I did see it when he was sober, but it was definitely a lot more when he was not, or when somebody or something angered him. So if anything could anger him, it wouldn't even be me. And it was all hell broke loose at the same. So it was definitely something that now I could have probably picked up on, but I never saw before, because at that time he was a gangster guy. So he had that rough exterior. He was more rough around the edges. He was always mean. That's what I thought of at that time. And so I just well, that's just his persona because he's in a gang. He's a gangster. That's just how they have to be. And you could still be a good person.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, I am so happy to hear that you got out of that and you're now happily married to an actual great guy.
Exactly. And he will probably tell you, it took him a long time to win me over because of that reason. But I was not used to getting loved, and actual love. And when I say that, I truly mean from growing up as a child, the love I get from my husband is something I never felt before. And it took me a long time to realize it. I guess you could say this is what love feels like, because he protects me. I've never had somebody be like, oh, I think of my wife, or before him, I never had anybody open a door you you're opening doors. Besides your grandfather, of course. My grandpa did, but he was an older gentleman. Of course, he's going to do it. But I never had anybody else do that ever in my life. So it would be okay, you're good. You don't have to do that. You're good. But he never stopped And I think that's where it was just like, other people would just stop. Like, oh, okay, she doesn't want me to open the door. I won't open the door. He still opens the door for me to this day. So it's just like, whoa, this is what a man is supposed to do for you. Open the doors. Like, it's the little things, but those little things that you've never seen before, you're like, oh, this is awesome.
Isn't it crazy though? Like at first, how uncomfortable it makes you. Like, oh my gosh, when you get like compliments and stuff like that, you're like, why do I feel dirty? It's so weird.
Exactly. It's like,
Right.
oh, I don't know how to feel. And, now that I've been sober the past year, like, I was with my husband when I wasn't sober, so he's seen me in both ways, but he's always told me how beautiful I am. And the fact that now that he tells me, like, "You've always been beautiful, but now you're even more beautiful. Your glow is different." It's just like, wow, like, he's seen the change in me. And he sticks behind me, and he's like, "You're doing great. You're amazing." And that that for me is just awesome. Like,
Well,
actual
yeah,
love, it feels completely different.
and you deserve it. Absolutely. And that's another thing, like, I really try to tell the listeners, like, listen, by you sitting here shacking up with Mr. Wrong, you are missing Mr. Right because he can't find you when you're hiding. Like,
Right.
you got to be available. They're out there.
Exactly. They are. You have to be open to it, but you also can't be desperate and think that any man gonna do it for you, because
Amen
that's
to
not
that.
true either.
No, no, no.
And
And you have to put in the work as well. Even if it's working on
exactly.
yourself, like we are all damaged, especially by some point in life. We got something. We got some kind of baggage going on. So it's not fair to
Exactly.
hold somebody to higher levels when we all have work that we need to do and we can meet each other halfway to make each other whole. That's what it's about.
Exactly. 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 And I definitely feel that, when I got sober, my main thing was I have to do this for me because I can't change anybody but me. So when I got sober and because I did go to a treatment facility, and that, like I said, when I hit my breaking point, I hit my breaking point. Like, there's two ways I'm going to go. Like, I'm going to the hospital, but I'm either going to go to the hospital and get better, or I'm going to go to the hospital and not be here. So I went to the hospital to get better. And I didn't go to a hospital per se. I knew I needed treatment. I knew I needed help because I knew I couldn't do it on my own. Um, and when I found out that there was a place that you could go and it was 30 days. So I went for 30 days, but it was a peaceful time to where I had to pay attention to myself. I had to. I had to do the work that the place made me do. I had to put in that work. And the one thing I knew that I did not want to do was go back. And I got horror stories in a way when I first walked in. Like, there's so many people that have been here 2, 3, 4, 5 times, like numerous times. And when I was there, like I'd seen people that had been there numerous times. And it was just like, you know what? If I'm going to do this, I'm going to do it right. And I'm going to take everything that they're giving me and I'm going to use this. And if I can't use this outside of here, then maybe it wasn't for me type of thing. But I really had to put myself first. And that is so hard when everybody's like, why do you do that? Or why do you say that? And if you don't take care of you, I would not be good for my husband. I wouldn't be good for my granddaughter. I wouldn't be good for my dogs. Like, now that I am actually putting myself first and taking care of me and setting boundaries within myself, I mean, I made it, for me, making it a year without drinking was like, whoa, But the first step was making it the 30 days that I was in there. That was huge. I hadn't made it a week. Like, so each step I take now is a humongous step for me that I can't wait to get to. And it's just like I had to do something for me. I had to start thinking of me. And if I have to think of me to be better for everybody else, I am. And I'm going to say me, I did it. I'm the only one that can do it for me. You can't do it for me. My husband can't do it for me. I'm the only one that can keep that drink out of my hand. I'm the only one that can keep that drink out of my mouth. Like, nobody else can do it for me.
Right. I like that rehab place, like, had you look at yourself. I feel like a lot of these treatment centers, all they do is try to mask the drink, but they don't try to uncover why you pick up the drink in the first place. And that's really where the healing begins.
Exactly. Exactly. And I think that's how I have made it this far without drinking, because I wanted to heal that inside of me. Like, why? What? I mean, because they make you see a therapist, and I still see a therapist and different things. But it was like that was her first question. Like, what? Like, why do you pick up that drink? It wasn't anymore. It wasn't to, well, I have a good time, or I I want to have fun. It was, I picked up the drink to mask what I was feeling inside. And once it gets to that point, there's an issue, I think. Um, and if you don't work on those little things, and now that I'm starting to work on things, and it's gonna take, like, I'm only a little over a year being sober. It's gonna take a long time. But now that I know that, it's like I want to help people before they get to the point where you have two choices. And I want people to know, like, there is a spot before you get there to where you can be like, oh, I'm picking up this drink not for an enjoyment reason. I'm picking this drink up for something else. And that's where I would like to help others. I would like, people to know that's not the only reason. When you have unhealed or unresolved issues, and it can be to the furthest I need to remember. But that's where you have to start healing yourself. And it's not going to be overnight. But the first thing I had to do was forgive myself for my passing, because it was not my fault. It was not my son's fault. It was a complete accident, an accident.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, sometimes people start drinking because it's fun, and then it becomes a mess, but then it becomes survival mode. You don't want to get sick. And that's when you're you're dipping your toes in the deep end, because if you can't not have it, that only leaves you the two choices.
Exactly. Exactly. So you definitely understand. I don't want you to get to that point, that point to where you're like, I'm going to drink myself to death. It's that I've had people in my family, I mean, very close people that have done that. And it's just like, what can I have done? What can I have changed? Could I have been there when they called that one time? Maybe that one time when they were just quiet. Maybe I should have talked a little bit longer, or just being there sometimes for somebody just to talk. I've I've called people sometimes just to talk, because that has stopped me from picking up a drink. And it's just like sometimes all that frustration that I never let out before, I would just get in the car and go to the liquor store and buy a shot or two or three or a bottle or a six pack or whatever at the time. Who knows? Whatever I had the money for at the time. type of thing. But now it's like, where is that coming from? Like, what inside me is hurting that I need to think about and maybe change my thinking of that is making me want to have a drink. To whereas before, it's okay, I need to drink because I'm feeling this way, and let me hurry up and have a drink because I'm feeling this way. And then it got to, I need to have this drink because if I don't have this drink, I'm going to get sick. And then it got to, I want to hurry up and go to work and come home and drink again. And, the cycle just got worse and worse and worse and worse. And all because I didn't chill. And chill.
And it's exhausting. It really is. I actually lost my stepfather 3 years ago to alcohol. He tried to detox by himself at home, and he did not fight that. So it's very important to take it seriously and to do it the right way. If somebody wants to get help, more power to you, yes, but please do it the safe way because it can kill you.
Exactly. It can. It can. And, the good thing about if you decide to go and get help is they do have, and everybody's like, oh, you went to a treatment place and all they do is medicate you. Everybody have all of these crazy things of what they do. And for me, it was like, you know what? If it's going to help me not pick up a drink today, I think that's a little bit of help because I didn't know yesterday how not to do that. So for me, I take it literally day by day, minute by minute, because you never know. It is a lot easier now, but you never know. I hear terror stories, horror stories all the time. I was just like, one little thing can make you go bad. And that could be with any substance. So I really wanted to make for sure in myself, I knew my triggers and what would help me and not help me, and just kind of figure out ways to just know to do better myself. Because that's all I can do. And I can't say, oh, you have to do it this way. And I think that was my horror too, of wanting, or because everybody that I knew that was sober was like, and I only figured this out in the treatment place, but they were like mean sober people. It was like they're sober and now they're mean and nasty because you're not sober with them, and all they want to do is give you a hard time because you drink. And they're just going to be mean and nasty to you because you drink, but they're sober, but they're still mean and nasty people. So I was like, I didn't know. That's why I never wanted to get sober. You turn nasty and mean. So now it's like, oh, you can actually turn sober and be nice. Oh. Imagine that.
Get your life
Right.
back.
Oh, right. You're not bitter? What was? No, I feel like I'm even more happier now that but I just had that horrible, that old man. I'm sober. I've been just straight, I've been sober for 25 years. It's like, it's scary.
Yeah, addiction, almost like anything else, is something that you will have to work on for the rest of your life, just like your healing. If there's no time next week, I'll be healed. I'm great. Yeah, no, it does not. It's good.
Yeah.
Doesn't work that way. It would be great, but it doesn't. So as long as you just keep working yourself and journal, do whatever it is that you need to do to keep your mind occupied and in a good place, that's all that you need to do. And speaking of a good place, tell me about this makeup company, girlfriend.
Oh, yeah. So it is pharmacy. And actually, it reminds me because I came from the era where my grandma was an Avon Mary Kay person. She had Avon or Mary Kay. She ordered from the Avon lady, or the Mary Kay lady, whichever one had the right whatever that she needed. And like it just reminds me of that type of a company, old school. But when it's definitely not like that at all. Believe me, it's not like that. But pharmacy is a company that has completely like natural products. So all their products are European European standards. So I don't know if you've ever noticed, but the people in Europe and like just anywhere besides America, their skin is always naturally looking good. And I'm just like always so mad. What the um, I have always been a makeup person personally. So I found pharmacy because I was buying that expensive makeup online that it was $40, $50 for a bottle of foundation. And I was faithfully buying it. And I couldn't figure out why. And I'm still breaking out everywhere. And it was just terrible. And since I really wanted to be healthy from the inside out, since I got uh, sober, is I really wanted to be healthy from the inside out. Everything completely from skin, everything. I found pharmacy. And I found pharmacy mainly because, like I said, the foundation. I was tired of spending so much money on foundation that broke me out. And it was like I had with this company, I won't name that company, but with this company, I had to go send back 4 bottles of this expensive foundation because they said, "Oh, we can match you so perfectly," and all this crap. Well, it didn't happen. But the very first bottle, and I didn't even know, like, if I was getting the right color. I just got, like, a medium color because I'm mixed, and sometimes my face is really light, and then sometimes it's dark, or if we're on the motorcycle, I get cat eyes, like so I have different shades, but the very first time, they sent me a bottle of foundation, and I just picked the medium shade because I'm like, "I'm not really dark, I'm not really light, I'm just gonna go in a medium here." It matched the first time. It hooked me, freaking hooked me. So ever since then, I have been using their products and the influencer that I watch, like I found pharmacy and got their products before I started doing it like for a business type of thing. So I was using their products and I was just like, wow, I didn't know you could do this as a business. Really? Let me do this. Like, I can get on there and do my makeup, right? I do my makeup all the time. It's not as easy as you. And yeah, I do my makeup all the time, but there's so much time that you don't do your makeup. And- But so what has honestly hooked me with pharmacy is their nutrition line. They have what is called the NutriPlus Wellness line. And I have been doing that faithfully every day since July. And that, I believe, is what is really my passion is just definitely looking better because not only with the makeup, my face looks better, but I feel better. I've lost weight. I started at 210 when I got out of the treatment center last year. I was at 210. And then I got up even more because of the sweet cravings from after you quit drinking, like, I had a ton of sweet cravings, like, I could not get enough Reese's Peanut Butter Cups, and now it's Twizzlers, and I don't know, my husband was like, "Are you serious? You ate a whole bag of Reese's?" Yes, I did. I ate a whole bag of Reese's, but you know what? That Reese's Peanut Butter Cup kept that dang beer out of my mouth, didn't it? But so I'm now down, and I actually am so happy to say, but I'm now down. I still got a little bit here, but I'm down to 180. So,
Get it, girl. You're looking good.
yeah, I'm like, but I've got a lot to go, but I still have baby weight. Can you believe that? I still have baby weight at 45. So, but that's because I never did anything about it. So there's another thing, like if you take care of yourself from the beginning, you really you help yourself in the long run. So now that I've been with pharmacy and since July I've been using their NutriPlus line, I really, really, really feel healthy. I drink this here. What I was drinking is called Recharge. It's like almost a natural energy drink. And
Oh,
because I was so heavy, I had high blood pressure. So I can't drink normal energy drinks like the Red Bulls and stuff like that. I've never really been able to. And then I really never liked the taste either. But the Recharge is like a natural energy drink, and I mix it with water. I put like a little Crystal Light pack in it, and I swear it gives me energy. I get the feeling of having that energy drink, and it does not make my heart rate. I am calm. I have extra energy that I never had before because I never really took energy drinks, and I was always afraid of the high caffeine. So, this has caffeine in it, but it's a more natural caffeine. So, it's like a more natural energy than those 5-hour energies or the Red Bulls or Monsters, because it's like they give you that boost of energy and then you come crashing, and it's not very good for you either. So, this is all good ingredients, and I just love it. So
yeah, those are horrible for you. Not to say I don't have one once in a while, but they are not good for you.
I know. See, like I said, I was a huge drinker, and one of my drinks was Tawaka. And I used to order like a Tawaka, and they would give me a Tawaka bomb, which would have the Red Bull in it. And I'd be like, oh, it's good. Like it would make my heart race like crazy. So now it's just like, oh, no, no, no. I stay away from those. And with this natural one, I can drink like 2 of these a day. And I drink one in the morning and maybe one mid-afternoon. And I'm good all day long. And I don't have to have an energy drink. And that's great, especially when you work at home because it gives you that energy to
Well,
run up and down the stairs.
yeah, there you go.
Right. Can run up and down the stairs really
Right.
quick and let my dogs in and out. I'm good.
Right. There you go. That's how you do it. I'm gonna make sure you have a link for the items that you sell, correct? So is it your
Yes.
website?
It's like my link mate, it's called. It's like a link tree link, but it's link mate and it has all my different links. So you can get to my pharmacy products. You can get to, because I also do makeup. So I do makeup for people. And then I'm going to be doing some peer recovery coaching here at probably around March, because there's a class I'm going to be taking in February to do some peer recovery coaching through. It's a place that I went through actually that really helped me. And it was like somebody I could call that was just a random person in a way, but I could go to that person when I needed to have a drink and I couldn't talk to anybody else. Like, I'm having a really bad time with a feeling for my daughter right now. And I could tell her the feeling without the biasness of everything. So I'm going to do that, and hopefully by March I'll be doing that too. So all of those links are on my link mate. So there's the one that says contact me. There's like a shopping link for the pharmacy products. There's a consultation link to schedule a makeup consultation. So there's a couple of different things in there, but there's also a link to my website that I will be adding to it once I get my website up.
Awesome. Look at you, girl. Yes.
Yeah.
And your mom would tell you, I know she was white, but black don't crack, sweetheart.
I know. I know. And that's what's crazy because I used to work. Well, I was in the medical field too. I was in the medical field for a long time, but I worked with this lady, and because my forehead's like still really pretty good, and they used to do Botox, and she would be like, "Oh yeah, if you want your forehead to look like hers, but you don't ever have to do anything." I'm like, "Wow, sorry." My mom gave me good genes.
There you go. Well, is there anything else that you wanted to add?
No, thank you so much for this opportunity. And it was awesome talking with you. It really was. I really had
No,
a
it was
good
a
time.
pleasure. Good. And I just want you to know I'm very proud of you. I think you are doing amazing things and you should be very proud of yourself.
Thank you. Thank you. And I can actually say that with a heartfelt thank you now. I never used to be able to do that. And I can actually say thank you so, so very much. It means a lot to me. And I am glad to say I'm proud of myself.
As you should be, yes.
Welcome to Murder Mimosas.
I'm Shannon.
And I'm Danica.
Are you looking for a unique twist on your true crime podcast? Join us on Murder and Mimosas, where a dynamic mom and daughter duo delve into chilling crime stories while sipping mimosas.
Each Saturday, we mix our favorite brunch drink and dive into some of the most intriguing true crime cases. Our casual yet captivating conversations blend our southern sarcasm with fresh perspective.
So pour yourself a mimosas, get cozy, and tune in as we uncover the darker side of humanity together.